Once upon a time, there was a little boy called Howard who loved writing stories.
Oh, this is brilliant.
Young Howard wrote many stories and scripts.
Mr. Quackers was on his magic toilet.
But then one day he grew up and discovered alcohol and laziness, so he put his writing in the attic and forgot about it. 20 years later, Howard found his old stories and persuaded his lifelong friend Rufus to read them. Join Rufus and Howard as they embark on a mission to read everything he wrote, from the age of 5 until now, in The Worst Writer in the World.
Little Howard dreamed of being a writer, and so he sat and wrote every night. But everything he wrote was fucking shite, yeah. Wubba-dubba-doo, worst writer in the world. 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 He's a stupid, suck-ass, rubbish writer.
Hello, and welcome to part 1 of The Mystery of the Golden Bus, which is a story that Howard wrote when you were how old?
About 12, I would say.
About 12 years old.
What I can tell you is that I definitely felt that I could write a better children's story than people that weren't children.
Okay.
Because I knew what children were interested in, which was vending machines and women. But also one thing I do remember from it is that I was so convinced that my characters were brilliant and and so obvious from what they spoke that a lot of the time I didn't feel it necessary to say who just said a line. That their intentions, their characters were so pure, and their character intentions always came out with everything they said, so you'd know exactly who it was.
And you said there's a list of characters somewhere.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you said is it this? It's,
the character list.
Just 1 or 2 words for each one.
Yeah, that's all they need. They are really distinctive characters, and that's really important in this story because, as you'll discover in today's episode, absolutely nothing happens other than we meet them.
P-twins write little gits. Amy, theatrical one.
There you go. See.
Alison, timid sod. Okay, and Claire, green, save everything.
There you go. So you know.
Yeah. Paul, into God. And Anne, loud-mouthed cow. You just it's good. But one of the crossed out ones, male, fat bloke. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's a longer one, so you've crossed it out because he's too complicated, I think. No one likes him, and he does no work, but his parents pay a lot of cash. Okay.
No, they pay cob.
Jenny.
Yeah.
Her character is mature physically. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So her character is she is a kid, but she has got boobs.
Yeah. Some kids have boobs. Yeah, well, and people are only allowed one thing. It's not like I'm being a sexist. I've allowed Anne to be a
loudmouth cow. Yeah, absolutely. No, you're not being a sexist.
Yeah.
Derek thinks only of Jenny. Jenny's the mature physically, right? Okay.
So when it says thinks of Jenny, it means he thinks of boobs.
I think so, yeah. Wants to get married.
Oh, there you see. Good, that's perfectly innocent intent.
Yeah, to her boobs.
Yeah, wants to marry both of her boobs. That's it's illegal to marry 2 people, isn't it?
A lot of people get in trouble with that when they think they're marrying one person, but it turns out there's 2 boobs on, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, I've got to go to prison now. I didn't know you had 2 boobs. You could have told me." Deputy Head, Mr. Parker, real English gentleman, but not really.
So, I mean, real English gentleman, but not really. That's not a very helpful character description, is it?
Yeah.
That's like going, has a head, hasn't got a head.
Yeah. He has got horns.
Yeah,
he hasn't got horns.
Yeah.
He is called Steve, but his name is John. So, Chapter 1, Traffic Jam. They had only just pulled onto the motorway, but already they were stuck. Right, okay, that... I don't want to make this joke, but honestly, the name looks like Rape Dicks. And I don't think that it's okay to make jokes about certain... But, I mean, this guy's name is Rape Dicks, okay? And it says Rape Dix was not a happy man. All right. So at least you're anti, okay? I think it might be Rafe because I think I saw this name on the character list but crossed out. Yeah, there
That's
it is.
not.
Rafe,
But Rafe's actually spelt Ralph, isn't it? I mean, Rafe
No,
is just
that's an unusual spelling.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, no, Rafe is usually spelled like this.
I guess I was
Yeah,
right.
You're fine.
You're just a disgusting rape joke person.
Yeah, I know. I feel ashamed, but I feel like you, as a child, set me up for that one. You know, by writing "Rape Dix was not happy." Okay, I mean, I should have ignored it, but it's difficult when you're looking for jokes.
It's true,
and then-
actually. It's a bit
you know
weird,
what I mean?
isn't it?
Yeah, that's weird. Okay, no, Rafe Dix. That's not much better. His name's
Dix.
Rafe. I mean, that definitely says Dix, all right?
Dix, yeah.
Rafe Dix was not a happy man. He was really annoyed about his stupid name. all
Yeah.
right? He had driven a lot of buses. In his time. He had driven a lot of buses in his time. Some trips had been good, others had been bad.
Yeah. Well, it's not funny. It's good. It's
That is good, that is good.
descriptionising them.
Yeah, there's a variety in quality in the bus journeys. All right. But none had ever been as horrendous as the one he was partaking now. All right, that's just now. You think it'd be easy to write now, but it wasn't. It looked like it said newt.
Partaking now, or partaking in now.
Partaking. Just partaking. It's basically, he had driven a lot of buses in his time. Some trips have been good, others have been bad, and but none had ever been as horrendous as the one he was partaking now. Mm-hmm. It's brilliant. He knew children could be bad. Again, I'm emphasising because you've underlined things. If you hear me overemphasise things, that's because you underline things sometimes. He knew children could be bad, but this lot were worse than something out of a horror movie. Yeah.
I mean, what kind of thing out of a horror movie? Because you get a lot of things in horror movies, don't you? Like chairs.
These kids are worse than a chair.
A chair from a horror film.
Yeah, just in the background, nothing happens with it. This lot were worse than something out of a horror movie. Those things that had made him move his sofa specifically to hide behind as a child were a mere nothing to the monsters he now had aboard his coach.
Right.
And that's actually
A little Dalek reference there.
yeah, and also a joke you made quite recently about the fact that like people make jokes about hiding behind the sofa from Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah.
But who has a sofa you can hide behind? Everyone's sofa is against the wall, which was a very good point because that's what people say, hiding behind the sofa. But I mean,
I've been championing this cause for a long
yeah,
time.
I think so because it seems like the same joke's being made there, like that he moved his sofa specifically so he could hide behind it.
I've
That's
got
quite
one
good.
joke. It's a moving the sofa joke.
Yeah, it's a good joke. But that is, it's a good observation because that's what people say. Hiding behind the sofa is what people say in association with being scared of Doctor Who and stuff. And
Scared of Doctor Who. Yes, you should be. I'm coming to get you. I'm going to exterminate you. But Doctor Who just got strange.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, either these people are just super rich and come from massive houses where you have a sofa in the middle of the room,
Yeah.
or they are lying.
Okay, yeah. Well, these kids are super rich, I think.
Are they?
But Rafe Dix isn't.
Okay, well, he's a bus driver. Mm-hmm. What kind of bus driver is rich?
Gold bus driver. Is that the right answer?
Yeah, that is the right answer. So the things in horror movies were nothing compared to these kids, all right? And the teachers weren't doing their jobs very well at all. Instead of shouting at the children, they were shouting at him.
Oh. I told you to get a normal bus, not this gold one.
With a gold bus driver. Look, he can't even move. He's a statue. I told you to take the scenic route. A nice trip through the country for the children to enjoy. So why are stuck in this bloody, belting great traffic jam? Shouted a, to say the least, enraged deputy head. Mm-hmm. Because, my friend, your children are the most disgusting foul-mouthed creatures it has ever been my misfortune to meet. And my intention was to get onto the motorway so that I could get to the sea as quickly as possible and get rid of you, replied the driver loudly. However, my plan seems to have backfired. So not only is he like deliberately not listening to the instructions of the people who are employing him, but he's also being like rude to them directly and telling them that their children are awful and that he wants to get away from them.
Yeah. I noticed characters in stuff that Howard Long writes often seem to go and like comment on their own decisions and that they've made in life. Like, I decided this. That turned out to be the wrong thing to do. Yeah, they're all meta-aware. That's what it is.
All right. So the teacher seems to say, "You're bi." You're bi. I think maybe it means you're because he then goes on to say, "Darn well right." So I think he's starting to say, "You're bloody well right," but he stops himself. But it just says BL. There's no like dots or anything to show that there's a kind of pause there. It's just, "You're bi. Darn well right. It has. Now, I suggest you get us out of here." How? By making the bus fly? If they're in a traffic jam, you're like, "Yeah, all right, mate. I'll get you out of here. Get off the bus. We're walking to the seaside." You know.
In this world, this universe, if people can have gold buses, then maybe they can have flying
If
buses.
you can have gold bus drivers, then you can have whatever you want. Yeah. All right. Well, oh no, it looks like Rafe is going to draw attention. I should have known. I mean, as you said, your characters will draw attention to everything. So Rafe says, "We're in a traffic
because
jam."
I'm making it up as I go along.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. "We're in a traffic jam. You can't just get out of them, or else everybody would,
Yeah, that's true.
and there wouldn't be one."
Yeah. Okay.
"We're in a traffic jam. You can't just get out of them, or everyone would, and there wouldn't be a traffic jam. You great teacher, Drongo."
Well, there you go. It's like the grandfather paradox, then, isn't it? Because then, if everyone got out of it and there wasn't one, then they wouldn't need to get out of it in the first place. So there still would be
one.
a traffic jam. Yeah.
Now, if Rafe was cleverer, he'd know that there's a traffic jam paradox. Right. Well, do your best. And with that, the deputy head returned to his seat, and Rafe watched him go through the mirror. It's like he's got a hole. He's got a hole in the mirror. He's just going,
No.
I can see that.
He walked off through the mirror, didn't he? Because he's a ghost.
He's Alice. Yeah. He's Alice in Looking Glass Wonderland. All right. He was your typical school-type person. Thought Rafe.
That typical school type person.
God, they're all the same school-type people, aren't they? He wore a brown suit
typical
with shirt and tie, and also had a black cloak. He had a black cloak.
Oh, right, yeah, typical.
Right, typical from the 1920s, yeah. You didn't find them very much these days.
Typical.
Yeah. Typical unique school person who dressed like someone from the past and you never saw. Oh, he's a typical school person that you never see these days.
yeah, one of them. Yeah, he had a flying dog and a jam for hair. It's typical, but you never see him.
Absolutely regular.
Don't exist.
Sausages growing out of his head.
Yeah, typical sausages growing out of his head that you never see, doesn't exist.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like you say, you're not planning it. You make it up as you go along.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go away halfway through a sentence, come back and don't read what came before. You just carry on.
Yeah.
You know, so you're like, typical school person, went and got a sandwich, came back half an hour later, he wore a brown suit and a cloak, and was Batman.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so, a unique cape-wearing super teacher. You didn't find them very much these days, but apparently the chap came from some special rich kid's school. To top it off, he had a large, bushy moustache, which would be a requirement if he were to ever become headmaster.
Right, yeah, that's on the fucking job application.
Moustache, yes or no? No. Sorry, you're not qualified.
Yes, send to the next man.
There's a woman here for the job. Has she got a moustache?
Oh, you got to glue on one. No, you've got to grow it. You've got to grow it, you know.
Concentrate. If you can't grow a moustache, then you don't have the dedication for this job, Trevor.
It's not working. Get out. Send in the next one. Send in a man with a moustache.
Maybe that is it. Maybe it's just like you're saying, it's a rich school, it's old-fashioned. They're like, we definitely don't want women being headmaster, right? They've never heard of a word headmistress. They just don't know it exists. So they're like, if we get a female headmaster, it's going to cause linguistic problems. How can we be absolutely sure that it's not a woman? Well, they better make sure everyone's got a big bushy moustache before we give them the job. All right, so ugly sod. Rafe muttered to himself.
Right.
It's not a nice man.
Judgmental character.
Yeah, he's terrible. Mr. Parker, as was the deputy head's name, seated himself. Sat. It's just this. This is what happens.
He's like a waiter, isn't he? Going like, would you like to sit here, Mr. Parker? Oh, thank you. Archie, do you have somewhere with a better view? Yes, you can come over here then. Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Parker.
Well, all the kids look at him like, Mr. Parker's talking to himself again. Oh no, he's just seating himself. That's just something he does. When he comes into class in the morning, he does it. He pulls out his chair and gives himself a napkin.
Yeah.
So he seated himself next to an old lady.
He asks for a menu.
Yeah.
This is a bus.
Seated himself next to an old lady
Did he?
with a taut white face. That's confusing when they're teachers,
Yeah.
especially when you spelt it like the
Teacher.
past tense of
Okay,
teacher.
yeah. Wait a second. Did he seat himself next to a female teacher that has the taut white face, or did he seat himself next to a teacher and when he seated himself, he had a taut white
It doesn't say she's a teacher. It says she's an old lady.
face? Okay.
She just got on the bus.
But does
they
he
forgot to lock the door, and she got
Does
on.
he seat himself with a taut white face, though, or does he seat himself next to someone with a taut white face?
I mean, it's not clear, but I think
Beginning with that one.
the with a taut white face is right next to old lady. There's no punctuation separating it. It seems like she has a taut white face. But if you want, you can
Yeah.
understand that he seated himself with a taut white face next to an old lady.
But as you say, she's been taught to have that white face, though, right? So she used to like not have a white face, and it's like, well, if you're going to work at this school, we're old-fashioned,
Yeah, so basically she's a black woman
Yeah.
who, she went for a job and she had all the qualifications they needed, even the moustache.
Even the moustache.
And she had everything. Right? She was a man. I mean, it was brilliant. She was a big black woman, right? In a dress. No, she's a big black man in a dress. And they were like, everything about you is brilliant. You're erudite, you're qualified, you've got fantastic references.
Lovely
but
moustache.
You've got a massive bushy moustache. The only drawback is we're an old-fashioned school and we're massively racist.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you be willing to do a foundation course in how to be how to be white?
Yeah.
Literally a foundation course because it's about putting makeup on. Right.
Yeah.
So and he needed a job and he's like, fuck, this is against everything I believe in, but yeah, sure, you're paying well.
Mm-hmm.
She was kitted out in a blue jacket and skirt and a white blouse. Thank you. That's important to know. What
No underwear.
what colour was the chair she was sitting on? And Rafe was quite surprised to discover she wore no half-moon spectacles. Okay. So Rafe looked at her, he's like, okay, I'm just going to check out what colour her jacket and skirt are. Oh, it's blue. Oh, hang on a minute. She's not got half-moon spectacles on. What's going on?
Yeah, because that's what a typical teacher
Typical
at that school
female
would
teacher wearing blue. Yeah.
But you don't usually find half-moon spectacles these days anymore, but I would expect her to wear them.
She was the school's scientific studies teacher. Did you not go to school? I mean, what the fuck is scientific studies?
That's what they do at that posh school, scientific studies.
They study scientific things, not biology or chemistry, but scientific studies.
Scientific studies.
Or science, as it's usually called. Okay, so scientific studies teacher, and her name was Ms. Stone. She turned to look at Mr. Parker as he sat down beside her. What did he say? She snapped because she wasn't really the polite type, and she was in an especially grumpy mood. He says he's terribly sorry and he'll try to get us out of this mess. I should think so too. Imbecile! What did he think he was doing? Driving us onto a motorway and right into the middle of the biggest traffic jam for 3 years. She also, when she's not teaching scientific studies, she does comparative traffic jam studies.
Well, in scientific studies class, she invented, kind of like iPhone. I mean, they got the first iPhones back in 1986 or whatever.
Yeah.
And so she's able to be aware of how bad this traffic jam is.
Mr. Haining is sat all on his own. I do envy him. Pardon? I said, perhaps he's trying to get some sleep. Nonsense! You can see he is doing nothing of the sort. Perhaps we should invite him over.
Invite him over.
I say, Mr. Haining. Tom Haining tried to pretend he hadn't heard, but he knew it wouldn't work.
Because he's sat like a yard away. Why are they going on a shit fucking bus anyway?
Bus journey to the seaside for their rich school, yeah.
When they were getting their fucking private planes and flying the Bahamas, the
They're
twats.
flown by Rafe Dix. Yes, Patricia, he said politely.
I don't think he sounds like that.
What does he sound like then?
I think he's like the cool younger teacher, isn't he?
Okay, Tom Haining says, yes, Patricia. He said politely. We thought you might be lonely. Come and sit with us.
You couldn't do a normal voice if you tried, could you? You know what normal people sound like. That's good, I like it.
That was the last thing that Tom wanted. Come and sit with us. But nonetheless, he stood and walked over to the other two. He seated himself.
Oh, yeah.
It's just something they do at school.
Yeah.
Well, would you like this seat? Yes, thank you very much. Good idea, mate.
Not really, I was happy where I was sitting, but...
He seated himself behind them.
Right.
Thank you. Very kind, he said. I don't know who this is, but I guess it's her.
Like I say, you can tell by the way the dialogue is, you know exactly who it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, she's annoyed and, like, strict, and he, Mr. Parker, is kind of annoyed and strict.
Yeah, but he's got a moustache.
Okay, I'm just going to quickly read this line and see if it sounds like someone who's got a moustache or not. Right?
Yeah.
Let me just have a look.
Yeah,
all right, so, can't you keep your class under control? Mr. Haining, look at my lovely moustache. Okay, I guess it's him then.
No, it's definitely
No, it's her, right. Can't you keep your class under control, Mr. Haining?
So she's invited him over just to chastise him, basically.
Yeah, apparently. Tom was stunned. That was all she really called him over for. Mm-hmm. Don't mind the kids. They just having a bit of fun. Kids are like that. said the DH. Oh, fucking hell. Okay, so it wasn't him. Don't mind the kids. They're just having a bit of fun. Kids are like that, said the DH. Tom groaned. The driver, who suddenly doesn't have a name, who had known the kids for less than 3 hours. Fucking no, they've been on this bus for 3 hours.
No, less than 3 hours. I think it might be 1 hour.
Okay,
1 hour is less than
like
3
10
hours.
minutes.
Yeah.
All right, so...
How much less than 3 hours, Rafe Dix? No.
So the driver, whose name was Rafe Dix, had known the kids for less than 3 hours, already had the kids figured out. They were little brats, and Tom didn't really care for any of them. So is that the driver knows that? Okay.
That's Tom's POV of the driver. He's going like, the deputy head says, don't worry, kids are like that. And Tom Hayden's like, God, the driver, he's already figured out that the kids are twats. That's what that means.
His train of thought was suddenly broken as what appeared to be a blue ball. It appeared to be a blue ball, but actually it was a cake.
Red Bull.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom was colourblind. What appeared to be a blue ball flew along the aisle and hit the driver on the back of his head. It burst and water poured out. Rafe fought with the balloon. All right, now it's already burst, right? So the balloon burst, water came out, and then Rafe had a fight with an empty balloon. No, and threw it aside. He stood up, looked down...
He did what? Oh no, they're in a traffic jam, it's okay.
Okay, yeah.
Like, shit.
Sort of turned around, and then the bus crashed, and everyone died. He stood up, looked down the coach. Ms. Stone shot up, so she can fly. She's like Supergirl. She's just like gone through the roof of the bus.
She's doing crack cocaine, isn't she? Stone just
Kicked
shot up.
in.
Oh, lovely.
All right, so who threw that? She yelled. Come on, who was it? Please, miss, said one of the 18 children.
Get ready to do 18 voices with us.
They're going to be very similar to...
Remember all of them.
Oh, no. Please, miss, said one. It doesn't say which one it is, though. It says one of the 18 children.
Yeah, well...
It was Cara. No, it wasn't, shouted Cara. It was my sister, Sarah.
Ah, right, okay.
You said to do it. Did not. Did too. Quiet, bellowed the old lady at the twin sisters. It's weird how sometimes you, like when you fully establish their name, sometimes you go back to driver or old lady. It makes it seem like an old lady just walked in. Bellowed an old lady at the twin sisters.
An old lady.
She'd never liked those two. She didn't
like anyone, does she?
She didn't like any of the children in the whole school, come to think of it. But she especially disliked these. You never knew where you stood them. I've lost the the twins. I stood them somewhere, but I turn around, they've gone.
So they're really good at seating themselves, but really bad at standing children.
Yeah. Because they were identical in their features and insisted on wearing the same clothing.
Yeah.
School uniform.
No, one set of clothing.
Yeah, so you never know where you stand with these two kids who are always together in one dress.
One outfit. Yeah.
So that you never knew who's done what.
I mean, well, that's true anyway, isn't it? Of like all 18 children, you don't know who's thrown the balloon until you get told who's done it.
Yeah, if you're not looking, which you're often not.
I mean, sure, if you're staring at two identical twins and one of them punches you in the face, and then you swap them around in a circle like that,
then you
that
put them
under a cup game.
Yeah, then you put them under two cups,
Yeah.
spin them around, and then take the cups and be like, oh, now I'm confused. Why did I do that? Why do I always do these stupid things? Oh, now, Mr. Parker, remind me next time these two do something wrong, and I'm looking at them when they do it. Remind me not to do the cups.
Not to do the cups.
Yes, every time. Yeah.
Good.
Anyway, said Cara, it's your fault. I beg your pardon. Yes, it is, continued Sarah. When Carlos said he wanted us...
Who's
when
Carlos?
Carlos is, I guess he's one of the other kids.
Carlos?
Yeah, he's down
He
there
hasn't
as
got a
well.
car.
Carlus. It's like Carlos, but with a U.
Right.
But it's definitely a U because it's in more than one place.
No, it's just an interest in foreign spelling.
Yeah, foreign spelling.
Hello, my name is Carlos.
Foreign name.
I got a fucking car. Don't know where I put it. That's why I'm on this bus.
Okay, so he's French. Right.
I thought I was an Italian, but I mean,
When Carlos said he wanted to go to the toilet, you told him he'd have to wait. You said he couldn't get off the bus.
oh,
I do not see what relevance that has.
I do.
Yeah, that's. I don't know how she's going to explain why that meant they had to throw it at the driver, though. She shouted, looking at Carlos, who was only 6, the youngest of the group, and also the richest.
Why hasn't he got a car then? Oh, he's not old enough to drive.
Yeah.
Well, the rest of them are all 18 and they all got cars.
Yeah,
But the irony is he's like
6.
loaded and he can afford loads
Yeah.
of cars, but he hasn't got any.
He's actually got a load of cars in trust for when he
Yeah.
turns 18, but he's still called... That's the irony, he actually owns 25 cars.
Yeah.
But he's still called Carlos
One of
until he's
those
18.
solid gold ones as well.
Yeah. When he's 18, he's allowed to change his name to Carful.
Yeah. Carful, that's the name of a planet in Doctor Who.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right, Carlotta. He can be Carlotta.
Carl got cars.
Carl got cars. Yeah. All right, we'll go with that one. Yeah, sorry, Carlos. When you're 18, you can change your name to Carl got cars. All right. Can I abbreviate it to Carl? No! You've always got to say Carl got cars. Every time. Okay. So he's the youngest of the group and also the richest.
Yeah.
Well, he's kept saying he needed to go. Said he'd burst. So we lent him one of our balloons to go loo in.
Lou.
Suddenly, everyone's attention turned to the driver, who was ripping off his clothes. Suddenly, he was ripping off his clothes and shouting extremely foul language. Jesus, this is terrifying. There's a bunch of kids on a bus, and the driver...
Cunt!
The driver, Rafe Dix, is ripping off his clothes and shouting the word cunt. I mean, they should be getting out of the fire exit now.
What will happen now Rafe Dix is naked and covered in piss? Will he go upstairs in his bus and give himself a handgasm? Or will he win an Oscar for Best Director? Find out next week on The
Worst writer in the world. Worst writer in the world.